Yesterday, Boris Johnson officially announced his resignation as Prime Minister and leader of the Conservative Party, triggering a Conservative leadership election. In this video, we'll take a look to see just who is throwing their hat in the ring to become the next Conservative Party leader and subsequently the next British Prime Minister. We'll also look to see what the polls are saying, who is likely to win and what the outcomes may be of this leadership election. So, firstly, we need to look at who has confirmed their candidacy. Only two Conservative MPs have officially confirmed that they will run in the leadership election. Firstly, you have Suella Braverman, the current Attorney General and MP for Fareham. She was appointed the Attorney General on the 13th of February 2020 and is part of Boris Johnson's cabinet. She announced her lack of confidence in the Prime Minister and that she would be interested in running for leadership on Robert Peston's show, Peston on ITV. The only other person to officially confirm their candidacy is the MP for Tonbridge and Malling, Tom Tugendhat. He has never held any ministerial positions, but he is chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee and he's been the chairman for some years. He comes from a background in the military and served during Iraq and Afghanistan, and he announced his leadership via a Telegraph article and has since hinted on Twitter. As I mentioned before, as of yet, they're the only MPs who've confirmed that they're going to be running for leadership and are already underway with getting their campaigns ready. However, there are many other potential candidates who've expressed interest and who will likely join the race in the coming days. Many of them were/are in Boris Johnson's cabinet, and others are backbenchers, and some were involved in previous Conservative governments. Now they include Rishi Sunak, former Chancellor of the Exchequer. He resigned only a few days ago. Liz Truss is the current Foreign Secretary. Sajid Javid, obviously former Health Secretary, resigned a few days ago as well. And he actually, if I'm not mistaken, ran in the 2019 leadership election. You've got Nadeem Zahawi, who might throw his hat in the ring. He's former Education Secretary, obviously. He's now the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And he'll remain so until Boris Johnson officially, formally resigns. Then you've got potentially Jeremy Hunt. He was Theresa May's Health Secretary and Foreign Secretary, and he actually finished runners-up in the 2019 leadership election, which obviously Boris Johnson won. You've got another more outside candidate, Penny Mordaunt, who's the current Minister of State for International Trade, I believe. And then you have who maybe seems to be the current frontrunner is the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace. Another candidate is Steve Baker. He's a current backbench MP. He's a member of the European Research Group, which is a sort of Eurosceptic organisation. You've got another outside shot, Priti Patel, the current Home Secretary. You've also got Grant Shapps, the current Transport Secretary. And there are potentially a few others who could throw their hat into the ring, sort of Steve Barclay, a few other people in there as well. There are also people who have ruled out and guaranteed they won't run. Those seem to be Dominic Raab and Michael Gove. Both reportedly have ruled a leadership bid out. That's according to the Daily Mail and Reuters. And an MP who's been very critical of Boris Johnson in the last few months, particularly, is Tobias Elwood, the Bournemouth East MP. He seems to have stated, "I don't think it's my time, and also it is still a Brexiteer market when it comes to being our party leader." That's the source of the Daily Echo. But who exactly is likely to win? We know who the candidates are, obviously. Obviously, there could be a lot more. There are also not fears, but apprehensions that you could see a very big candidate list. There have been talk as well, the 1922 committee, which is the Conservative backbench MPs committee, they sort of decide the rules of this sort of thing within the Conservative Party. Basically, in order to run for leadership, you need 8 people to sort of endorse you, 8 MPs. Now, there's been talk perhaps on some news outlets that they may seek to raise this in order to reduce the number of candidates who are able to run. But let's have a look at some of the polls. Now, these are according to YouGov. Now, this one that you're seeing on screen is out of 716 Conservative Party members. Who would you like to see as the next leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister? And right at the top there, you see Ben Wallace, the current Defence Secretary. Now, he has one of the highest net approvals with Conservative Party membership within the party. He's I believe his net favourability was in the 80%, and that's very, very high. Since the Ukraine crisis, the war in Ukraine, it's been he has skyrocketed in popularity. Now he seems to be the front runner, but you can also see there Penny Mordaunt, someone who is perhaps going to be more of an outside shot. She's also doing very well. Rishi Sunak, despite many people perhaps a few months ago, even a few weeks ago, sort of saying his political career was sort of dead in the water, especially after he was fined, he's still in third place. Liz Truss seems to be very favourable with party membership. She was consistently up there until Ben Wallace took the front runner place. She's there in fourth, as you can see. And then you've got a few people who aren't running, Michael Gove, Dominic Raab, obviously, and a few outside shots. But then, this one's the most interesting, I think. It's a head-to-head. Same 716 Conservative Party members, I believe. Also YouGov poll. It's got head-to-head. You can see on the Ben Wallace section, he absolutely destroys pretty much everyone he's up against. 58% to 22% against Jeremy Hunt, 51 to 30 against Sunak, 48 to 26 against Mordaunt. Perhaps the only person who can beat him is Liz Truss herself. You can see Truss herself is also, although not as the margins aren't as wide between her and Wallace, you can see she does well for herself. She beats out all the other candidates. When it comes to Sunak seems to be perhaps a little more unfavourable. The only person he can clearly beat is Hunt. For example, a straight race, Penny Mordaunt versus Rishi Sunak. Mordaunt has a slight 2% lead, although that's way within a margin of error. It could flip either way. So as you can see, the polls certainly suggest that Ben Wallace is in a very good position, although it is important to understand how Conservative Party leadership elections work. Essentially, for multiple rounds, members do not have a say. It is exclusively MPs who actually have a say. In this instance, Ben Wallace might not do so well. This is key to mention. He is popular with membership. Perhaps he isn't as popular with MPs. Perhaps with MPs, that's where perhaps Liz Truss might really benefit. The last round, where you have two candidates left, that's where the membership came in. But I saw today that former Prime Minister John Major, former Conservative Prime Minister, sent a letter to the 1922 committee basically saying, in order to speed the process up, you should eliminate the membership voting. Essentially meaning that he believes it should all exclusively be done with. It should exclusively be done within the parliamentary Conservative Party, the 358 MPs, because it would speed up the process, and you don't have to have this big leadership election, which could, in theory, perhaps shut down Ben Wallace's campaign and really skyrocket other candidates' campaigns. So that's the sort of things we have to tie in here, that potentially, depending on if the 1922 committee changes the format of the election in order for a speedier election, or if they don't, and if it goes to membership, or if it stays within MPs, could really tip the balance. And if it stays within MPs, then really what the membership says is irrelevant. Well, it is irrelevant. And if it goes out to the membership, then suddenly you have a big, big hot competition where you could have the likes of Ben Wallace absolutely destroying the competition, or conversely, it stays in MPs, it will be a much, much tighter race. But whichever way it goes, hopefully on this channel, we will cover it. So please subscribe. We're going to keep track. Right now, what we'll be focusing on is obviously Tory leadership election. That's a big one. But on this channel, obviously this is the first video. I've been waiting until Boris Johnson's government was brought down effectively, so I could start a new channel with a new government. It sort of just made more sense that way, and to be fair, Boris Johnson's government collapse seemed inevitable for a while. So this channel, I aim to be as unbiased as physically possible. I don't want to make videos with underlying bias. I want to give coverage for all nations for Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland. So obviously most of our content will be at UK level, but we'll do some devolved stuff. Obviously in Scotland right now, you've got things like the independence referendum, IndyRef 2, which will be a hot topic in Scotland, and you'll have it in Wales and Northern Ireland. You've got obviously the protocol in Northern Ireland, and forming government stuff up there. And in Wales, I think Wales has probably got quite a cooler environment than perhaps the other three parliaments and assemblies in the kingdom. But yes, so I also comment down below who, one, you think will be the next prime minister, or even two, who you want to be the next prime minister. So thank you for watching if you've watched this long, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.